Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you are here for another 4 for 4. I have a whole playlist of them up above. If you find that you enjoy this and you want to watch more, there are a lot more. Today is palettes that were on my chopping block. So if you haven't been following me on Instagram, please do consider subscribing over there too, or following me over there. Don't forget to subscribe here. Don't forget to give me a like and leave me a comment on if you've tried these palettes and what your thoughts are on them. Anyway, over on Instagram, I've been doing my palette chopping block, and what I've been doing is I went through my eyeshadow collection, oh my gosh, not last October, but the October before, and I laid out all of them, and I looked through them, and I picked out all of the ones that just didn't excite me, that I looked at them and I was like, meh. And then I put like all the ones that I really love in one pile, and then all the ones that, you know, I like, but they're not loves. So I went through all of the ones that didn't excite me, that would be my bottom tier, and I have been giving them each a wear. And if they pass that initial wear, if I like what I see, then they go into this 4 for 4 chopping block. So here we have 4 more palettes that were on the chopping block, and I tested them out for 4 days. We're going to see if they survived or if they're going to be decluttered and how they rank also. So we have Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. This is the old packaging. Quick glance inside there. Then the next palette we have is from Pure. This is Be Your Selfie, and this is what it looks like. There's been some damage done to this palette, and not my fault. Not my fault, just gonna say that. Then we have the Sephora X Pantone Universe. This is their pastel palette, very, very pastel, very pastel. And then we have from Too Faced, this is the Boudoir Eyes, the old tin packaging. That's what it looks like. So like I said, each one of these palettes I wore for 4 days. I tried to use every shade in the palette, or as many as possible, and get a feel for how they mix together, how they look on the eyes, how I feel by the end of the day, how I like the looks. We're going to start with Boudoir Eyes. I, at one point, was trying to collect all of the tin palettes like this. I've kind of gotten over that, although if I could get the rock and roll one that they did with Marie Osmond, I'd be very excited, because the country palette that I have that they collabed with her for is one of my favorite palettes. Like, oh my gosh. Definitely, you see like pan in those, one of my first high-end palettes too. So this is what it looks like. You have a lot of like cool tone shadows, a lot of shimmers. You only have like a couple mattes. I guess you have about mixed mattes, but some of your mattes are very light. I don't love the names in here. So we have In the Buff, Fuzzy Handcuffs, Voulez-Vous, Satin Sheets, Sugar Walls, Garter Belt, Birthday Suit, Lap Dance, French Tickler. Like, I don't know. They're kind of known for their semi-risque names, but let's see how the shadows perform. All right, so this is what we have going on color story-wise. You have that second shade that you can barely see on me. They're all pretty light. There's like this one that has a little depth to it, and the black, even the gray isn't too dark. You do get a how-to guide with this, and I just left it in there. Most of the other ones don't have that in there anymore. But that's what they all look like. Did I like how they performed? They performed okay. Like, they're a solid performance level. I didn't love the looks I came up with though. I felt like the dark shades, there wasn't enough depth. So like if I did one line at a time and did how I normally would do, which would be like one in the crease, I know the color I have in today's crease is very light, and then I do something outer corner and then like a shimmer inner corner. I ended up using like this one so many times because it was just kind of was the best of the shimmers for the most versatile. But I felt like I got a lot of like super shimmery looks, something that wasn't necessarily, didn't look the best on me. Yeah, even this one is kind of like, has slight satiny shimmer to it. I wasn't impressed with it. I liked each individual like formula I liked. I just didn't like the mix, and I didn't like the color story. And I didn't like how they looked on my eyes trying to come up with a color story. Because I tried to like stick to each line for one day and kind of see how that would work. And that still wasn't great. So this is not one that I would recommend. It's not one that's going to stay in my collection. We'll see how it ranks compared to the other ones here at the end. But yeah, one more look at those colors. They're all right. They're not me. All right, next up is the Pure Be Your Selfie palette. This I know I got the Boudoir Eyes from like TJ Maxx or Marshalls. This one came in a subscription. I'm thinking it probably came in BoxyCharm. It could have come in like Try Beauty Box though, or I don't think it came in Ipsy though. It also could have come in my FabFitFun now thinking about it. Anyway, that is what the color story looks like. So you have a row of lighter mattes, you have a row of shimmers, and then you have a row of darker shades with a matte in the middle and then two more shimmers. So you have a mix of mattes and shimmers in there. Let's see, there we go. So that's what it looks like. And then here's what they all look like swatched. So you do have like a super light shade, but then you get a nice variety in here as well. This is a pretty basic palette. I wish it had maybe one more matte instead of so many shimmers, which is funny coming from me who loves shimmers and just can't live without shimmers. But I don't need dark shimmers. Like I really like my lighter shimmers because I'm not so much using a dark shimmer in my outer eye. It's more like likely in the inner eye, like the look I have on today. So I think the shadows work really well. This one I have tried to alcohol spray because it was just crumbling and I don't know why. It's the only one that's doing that, but that's why it looks a little funky around it. They work really nice. This is not a palette I normally would keep, but I don't feel like passing this along to somebody because it's not in the best shape. And so I'm keeping it. Not because I love it and I think it's great. It's because I feel like it's solid and it's good. The shadows work really well. They look really nice on the eye. They last a really long time, especially the shimmers. Like the shimmers are gorgeous on the eyes. But it's kind of boring. And for that reason, I would normally pass it along just because it's not one that I see myself reaching for a ton. But I'm going to make myself start using it so that I can get some use out of it. And it's just the way it is. I wouldn't want to pass it along, but I think it's really pretty. Pure shadows are kind of hit and miss for me, so this is a good one. I did like this one more so than some of the other ones, but also this is like my color story, warm tones. This is like my wheelhouse. All right, the next palette up is Marvelous Mauves by Dose of Colors. I know they've changed the packaging recently. I have the old packaging. I got this in a BoxyCharm, I believe, and then I picked up like an extra one when they were doing, or maybe did I get this in, it was in BoxyCharm at one point. I don't know if this is the one I got in BoxyCharm. They've also were half price at Ulta at one point. They no longer are sold at Ulta, which is kind of sad, but so in here you get 5 mattes. They are nothing but mattes. As you probably can tell, that's a challenge for me. So, yeah, this is what they look like. They all work very nicely. Like they're all really soft and creamy, really pretty. I find that the last two like are pretty similar in shade to each other. I don't know. I don't love this palette. This is one that's going away. This one's being decluttered for sure. I struggled with it because one, it doesn't have any shimmers, but two, I felt like my look would muddy. Like it just kind of blended into each other and just looked kind of like, you know, a mauve mud kind of shade. And that could be me. Very, very likely user error. But I struggled like, and I felt like I didn't get a different look if I was using this one versus this one. Like, and I felt like I had to use like the two on the end every look that I did. So I didn't love it. I didn't feel like there was enough variety in there. It would have helped if like one of them was the shimmer. Like I think that would have just really changed a lot of it for me. I just, the shade range just didn't work for me. And I love the color. Like, I think like the colors are really pretty. They just weren't for me. And I would definitely need to mix this with another palette. And I'm not about that. That's not who I am. So this one is being decluttered, but we'll see where it lands in the ranking. All right, we are on to the last palette, which is the Sephora X Pantone Universe. I love the artwork on this. They did an awesome job on it. I just really like it. It's a really sturdy packaging too, and it does have like the color of the year. It has listed down, but it also like, you know, has all of the Pantone colors on there, which I think is pretty cool. There are 20 shades in here, and I would try to swatch them all on my arm, but I don't feel like doing that today. And also just like, that's so many colors. I don't know how well they would show up. So I'm going to do 2 rows going down at a time. So trying not to blind you. So I'm going to do like the first 2 rows, and then I'll do the second 2 rows, and then the third 2 rows. So I already have the first 2 rows, which are going to be on this side. As you can tell, there's a lot of white because it doesn't even want to focus. There we go. So you have a white, you have a cream, you have a gray, you have a pink. That is very, like, they're just kind of blinding there. This is what they look like all together. So you have your white, you have your cream, you have your gray and your hot pink. Then you have your light pink, you have your little darker taupe, I guess. I don't know what color to call that. And then the peach and the purple. So we'll put them up close. It might shift just slightly, the swatches. But yeah, that's what those first 2 rows look like. I will say that I wore this yesterday, and I was wearing the purple, and then I was wearing this turquoise, and I got compliments from my coworkers over Zoom. They're like, your eye makeup looks so pretty. And I was like, thanks. I was going for something a little bit more bold because I don't usually wear color when I'm like doing work stuff. All right, so we have the second 2 rows available. So that's these 2 middle rows here. As you can see, some of them are quite light. I did double swatch this one right here, that top one, because it was just not showing up like at all without that. And I did, like, this one was a little chunky, so you can see that it's not quite even in there. It probably needs to be blended out just a little bit. The other shimmer and satiny type shades worked really well though. That's the first one that I've had that issue with. So that's what they look like. So you have some darker shades, slightly darker shades. I mean, they're all pretty much pastels in here. And part of the reason, like, this is perfect timing because I'm so want that new MIDI Natasha Denona palette that's come out recently. I'm so tempted by that one. It looks so good. And then I was like, I think they look more pigmented than these shades are. So, but do I need this one? Should I keep this one? Should I not keep it? I was all ready to declutter this one after the first couple days. And then I got to use some of the colors, and that really helped. Although I did really like, I can't remember what I did the first day, but I liked the second day. I did like this shade. I did just a very neutral look, and it looked really pretty. I think I did like this one, and then that one. And then I did the one with the turquoise and the purple, and I really liked that one. Wasn't too crazy about the one I did in between, but I would like to do one with like some of the greens and some of the blues. So I don't think it's going to get decluttered, but let's swatch the last rows. Okay, we're on the last 2 rows. I want to, before I show you what they look like, I want to point out I had a hard time with this blue here and with this yellow here. They were both like very stiff and like they had never been touched before. I had never used either of those shades before, but I really had to like work to get anything to pick up and go over it a couple different times, which is unusual. I didn't have that with any of the other shades, so I don't know if it's just because they had never been touched, or if they look like they're more like satiny shades. I'm not really sure. So this is what they look like. So you can tell that yellow is like super light. I'm going to go in close. It's going to distort the color, I know. Maybe will that make that a little better? But like the green looks really nice. This one I had to go in a couple times. That's this one. This is like a gray. The blues, like, man, those 2 blues on the bottom have a lot of pigment. They performed really well with swatching. and I think they should perform well. I really like that green, like that olivey kind of green. So we'll hold this up so you can see all the colors together. Yeah. Interesting. Can't decide on this one. All right, so now it's time for the ranking. I've already kind of talked about which ones I'm decluttering, and we're going to decide on one of them as we go. I just dropped this one on the floor, and I can't believe it did not shatter. It's perfect. I did get black on it though. I think there is a little black eyeshadow that escaped. But so in last place, I'm going to put Boudoir Eyes. Just because the shade range is kind of funky. I feel like it was really hard to get complete looks out of this, and that's just because there's just so many lights. Like I feel like there's so many light shades, so you don't get that depth or that mix of, you know, like light, medium, dark. You got light and dark, and like not so dark. So yeah, this one is going to be in fourth place because of that. Also because of the mix of mattes and shimmers. Just, I don't know, it just didn't work well for me. So this one is being decluttered, and it is in last place. And third place, not second. I was going to say second to last place. So second to last place, or third place, is going to be the Marvelous Mauves by Dose of Colors. And that's because 1, it's only mattes. 2, I had a hard time making some looks out of this, and it just all muddied. So not my favorite. I think 1 or 2 of these shades would be nice mixed with something else. But unless you want to mix and match palettes, this is not a great palette. And I don't think the new packaging is going to change that in any way. I do have some other Dose of Colors stuff that I really like. I just wasn't a fan of that one. In second place, I'm going to put the Sephora X Pantone. That's because it doesn't always perform. It's not consistent. The shades are not consistently good, which is a problem. There's a lot of super light shades, so it's kind of hard to make a look. You can make a look. It just takes a little bit more effort, and it takes more creativity too. So there are some shades that I really like. I can't decide if I want to declutter this or not. I think I'm going to hang on to this. I'm going to put it in another future 444, like quite a ways down the road, because I have lots of 444s I'm working on. I'm working on like a colorful one. That's what I'm wearing today. I have a Face and Eyes ones coming. I just finished another 444, which will be the next one that you see. I don't want to spoil anything. So there's just, I'm working on a lot of projects already, and I want to do the rest of my chopping block 444s before I come back to this one. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just like sprinkle it in here and there and give it a try and see if it grows on me and I want to keep it, because I kind of love it and I kind of want to keep it. But on the other hand, I'm like, how much am I going to use it? Should I declutter it? For now, it's not being decluttered. Which means first place is the Pure Be Your Selfie palette, which is really funny because this is one that if it wasn't so boring, like if it wasn't so damaged, I would pass this one along. But it's the first place. I feel like the mix of light and dark is the best. I feel like the mix of shimmer and mattes is the best. All of the looks that I got with it were good. I felt comfortable in them. I felt like they lasted all day. I felt like the shimmers were so pretty. I really enjoyed the shimmers in here. So yes, in first place is the Be Your Selfie. Not what I was expecting, but there you have it. Let me know if you've tried any of these palettes, what your thoughts and opinions on these palettes are. Let me know how you're doing. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.